Can what cities do locally really move the dial toward national sustainability? Portland, Oregon shows what's possible. 70% of all the oil consumed in America is used for transportation. But congestion wastes a huge amount, perhaps 16% of all the oil imported from the Persian Gulf.
Despite our best efforts, we're still taking 10% of the world's petroleum supply just to get back and forth to work every day.
Congressman Earl Blumenauer represents Oregon's 3rd District, including Portland. He heads up the Congressional Bike Caucus, and his city started finding solutions some 30 years back.
You know, one of the things we did was we have an urban growth boundary, and what that is sort of a ring around the city of Portland and its surrounding suburbs, so that we cannot kind of sprawl out and we can't become Los Angeles.
Between 1950 and 1990, America's urban population grew by 90%, but city's land area grew by more than 250%. Remarkably, Portland bucked that trend of urban sprawl.
Key decisions made include a move from investment in freeways into transit and also to integrate transit planning with land use planning.
Along with region-wide thinking, Portland now has an infrastructure that emphasizes mass transit, along with something this city pioneered in the 19th century: bicycles. It may be easy to parody Portland's love affair with all things green, including the cycling community. But putting bikes to work has practical advantages if they can be made into something used for more than pure recreation. That's the purpose of what's called the Oregon Manifest, a design challenge to come up with clever and practical ways to transport packages as well as people.
A decade ago, it was hard to find a bike that was not a racing bike or a mountain bike or touring bike. Now, any bike shop that you walk into in the city of Portland anyway, you'll find city bikes, bikes that are really made for commuting to and from work, from riding to the park to the grocery store.
Half of U.S. car trips cover less than 10 miles, and short trips, where engines make a cold start, are the most gasoline intensive and polluting. So if city bikes like these became mass-produced and popular, and if every one of the nation's more than 100 million households substituted one 5-mile trip each day, the nation would save $36.5 billion on gasoline. Already one young entrepreneur has put Portland's non-polluting pedal power to work and made a business of it.
We use these large tricycle trucks to deliver products into a 2-mile radius of the urban core for Portland. We deliver everything from bread and produce to office products to water to cycle parts. Each trike can carry about 800 pounds. They're all electric assisted, so it's a hybrid human and electric power.
The less congestion we have, our goods and services move faster. We're an international global city. We have to be scrappy. So bicyclists are about reducing congestion.
Over the past 2.5 years, we've helped displace over 25,000 truck or van-based deliveries. And we start to look at the overall greenhouse gas reduction and avoidance. Day by day, it's not very much, but cumulatively, it really starts to stack up.
Cycling may be an outward and very visible sign of a transition away from cars, but the region's mass transit network also has serious numbers.
We have been electrifying our transportation for 30 years here, and today there's literally about 150,000 boardings per day, and that means that people who otherwise might be traveling around in cars are traveling around in electrons.
As a result of how we put the pieces together in Portland over the last third of a century, Portlanders voluntarily drive 20% less than the national average. This translates into a dollar savings for the typical household of more than $2,500 a year. And that's money that stays in our community. It's not going to Houston or Saudi Arabia, Japan or Germany.
Portland's leaders talk about the trip not taken as something that saves money and benefits the environment. Currently, more than a quarter of Portland's workforce commutes by bike, carpool, or mass transit. But planners are working on the next giant step in low-carbon transportation, electric vehicles.
I think we get to the point where electric vehicles will be able to do 98% of the personal transportation needs, and of course that's mainly in the cities and the suburbs.
An average Portlander's daily commute of 20 miles could easily be powered by a single battery charge. So, Electric Avenue is a test site to get ground truth on how people might use e-vehicles.
We think the next 10 to 30 years is going to be focusing on individual passenger vehicles like the ones behind me, and also on urban freight and service vehicles, those parcel delivery trucks, the post office.
Those vehicles also make lots of short trips with starts and stops, producing emissions and using up a lot of fuel. Nationally, companies like Frito-Lay are competing with others like Federal Express to see who can deploy the most low-emission delivery vehicles.
Tailpipe emissions are the single greatest source of emissions in our major cities. So I think probably every mayor everywhere supports the idea of getting more vehicles on their local roads that don't have tailpipes.
Portland's original plans concentrated on land use and transportation. The focus for the future is the neighborhood. The goal is what's called a 20-minute neighborhood, with most everything a family needs in easy walking or biking distance, where kids can learn how to ride safely to and from school.
This effort of integrating the pedestrian, streetcar, bike, along with mixed-use development, it's enriching the experience of going to the store, going to visit a neighbor, and makes us a more sustainable, cost-effective community.
Portland's transportation innovations have direct economic benefits.
By actually doing the right things here, we've built this base of great export. We've got solar firms, wind firms, we have firms focused on energy efficiency with hundreds and hundreds of employees, and they're locating here or they grew up here because we were trying to do something and we built demand here.
So we're one of the cheapest cities on the West Coast because we offer options other than having to own a car to live and work and have a good life.
I think just like anything you're trying to do, whether it's a business or a government or a city, good things don't happen by accident. You need to have some good plans.
We can reduce that carbon footprint while we provide economic opportunities for our citizens and others.